Good evening, viewers. My name is Sandy J. Raj with my co-host Al Rangel here in San Diego at the Mesa Rim Climbing Academy. We are at the second stop of the National Cup Series. How you doing tonight, Al?
I'm doing great, Sandy. Thanks for asking. Really looking forward to watching these competitors come out and climb on an awesome round of boulders. We had over 150 competitors last night at the qualifier round, which is the most we've ever had for a National Cup Series. So pretty exciting. Really shows the growth of the sport, and I'm looking forward to seeing some new faces in finals and also seeing some up-and-comers.
Definitely. The roster is absolutely stacked last night with super strong climbers. Everyone put on a really great show. Lots of tops. Lots of really hard problems last night, Al.
Yeah, I think it's pretty notable that a lot of the best climbers in the country didn't make it to finals. We have some notable missing climbers on the men's side, like Matt Foltz and Kai. And yeah, I think it really is a testament to how hard the climbs were and how stacked the field was. We had over 100 male competitors, so pretty impressive.
Definitely, and around 50 female competitors last night as well. Everyone climbing very, very strong. I'm really excited to see what the setters have put together for tonight.
And then on the women's side, we have actually a lot of names that we've kind of gotten used to seeing. We have 6 of the 8 kind of top-ranked, nationally ranked female competitors from last year. We have Sierra Blair Coyle, Kyra Condi, Margot Hayes, Michaela Kirsch. We have Sienna Kampf, who is kind of new. I think this is her first finals at the National Cup Series, which is awesome. Maya Madere, Alex Puccio, 11-time national champion, and Brooke Rabitou. So super stacked field on the women's side.
Definitely. Lots of the same names in rotation that we've seen. I'm really looking forward to it.
Right now we're watching on the men's side. They're kind of going through observation period for the boulders. So they get to touch the start holds and nothing else. Right now they're probably talking beta and trying to talk to each other and feel each other out and see what they're going to be doing for the round.
Yeah, it's always really nice to see them kind of hang out before the boulders, just during the round previews, kind of sharing beta, kind of looking at the climbs.
Do you have any favorites, Sandy?
I'm definitely looking forward to seeing all the women's boulders. Definitely Alex Puccio, Brooke, Kyra. I mean, they put on a really, really strong showing last night, so I'm looking forward to all of that.
Yeah, so Kyra beat, she came out in first in qualifiers. I believe it was 8 tops for qualifiers. Alex Puccio and Brooke Rabitou narrowly behind. And I think it'll be really interesting to see. I think Alex can always kick it into overdrive when she gets into an on-site round, and it's always different. The strategy kind of changes significantly. So it'll be good to see going into the on-site round kind of how things shake up.
Definitely. Also worth noting that Michaela Kirsch came in second at the Steeltown Throwdown just a couple weeks ago in Pittsburgh. So she'll probably put on a very interesting show tonight as well.
I'm super excited to see Daniel Fong. I was actually at a wedding with him last weekend for one of my best friends, and we kind of chatted. He told me he was coming down to San Diego, and I told him that he was my dark horse, so I was hoping he'd make it into finals. So here he is today, and he was absolutely smashing during qualifiers, which is awesome to see. And now I think this is his first National Cup Series on a big stage. It'll be interesting to see how he does in the on-site round, because the nerves can kind of start playing with your head a little bit.
I'm sure that plays true for everyone, Al. But they all look really excited so far, all the women huddled underneath women's 2, looking super psyched over there.
Here we got a close-up of Clay Gordon, one of the youth competitors coming up on the scene. He had a really impressive outing yesterday in qualifiers. Also, Ross Fulkerson, some of the young, and Zach Gala, a lot of the young competitors who are showing up from the youth competitive scene, and they're starting to kind of, perform at the level that we see them perform in youth competitions.
Definitely. They came out looking very, very strong last night. Ooh, looks like all the athletes are starting to filter out. We've got a pretty packed house in here tonight.
Yeah, it's looking like we had a pretty electric atmosphere. I like what's going on. We'll see once everybody starts coming out and watching. We're looking at the slab, and there's pretty incoherent, kind of hard to read boulder problems here. A little bit of pointillism on the right and some geometric shapes on the left.
Yeah, I have to say it looks pretty cryptic out there. It'd be interesting to see how they attempt to get started on them.
I want to know if Nathaniel Coleman's going to come out here and he's going to fall, because historically he's been the kind of person that just shows up to competitions. This is the thing with Nathaniel Coleman, is you hear it from everybody else. They're like, oh, he hasn't really been climbing lately, and then he comes out and then just dominates boulder.
Yeah, I'm not sure he falls.
Yeah, so we'll be kind of looking to see if it's going to be Nathaniel Coleman of typical form, or he comes out, does every boulder super easily, and everybody else is just trying to play catch up.
Yeah, I mean, last night was a pretty hard qualifying round. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of tired athletes today, but I have no doubt that they'll put on a really exciting show for our viewers.
We should also mention Sean Bailey, I think, qualified in 6th from last night, but that's no indication of necessarily how the things are going to end today. So especially on the men's side, I think that we're going to see a bit of a shakeup. I think it's going to be harder to decide 1 through 5 on that side. And I think my pick for today on the women's side is going to be Kyra Condi, just looking at the round of boulders.
I think I could actually agree with that. I could see Kyra coming out very, very strong tonight. Brooke Rabitou as well, though. She seems to excel at this style of climbing.
Yeah, and Brooke's actually moved down to San Diego now, and I believe she's going to USD. So this is kind of starting to be home turf. She's used to the wall angles and the volumes and everything. So it's kind of nice to be on familiar territory.
Definitely. I'd say a handful of the athletes have had an opportunity to climb here just from the camps that we've put on at the Mesa Rim Academy. But she definitely has maybe even an edge just from the fact that she lives here.
And Sean Bailey also recently moved out here, so we've been seeing him climb at the academy quite frequently. We've got our first climber out, Joe Diaz. On men's number 1. I feel like it's always really hard to be the first person out. You kind of want to set the tone. You qualified in last place, and it's always a little bit difficult to know what kind of energy you're going to bring. You haven't heard anybody. It kind of depends on the competitor, but I think it's a difficult spot to be in.
Yeah, I listened to an interview with Nathaniel Coleman once where he said that going first actually takes the pressure off of him because no one's had to see, what the intended beta might be or what it's supposed to look like, and you just kind of go out there and play.
It's always nice to get established. And he's off. One thing about the round of boulders today is that a lot of these boulders you can kind of get stuck on for a while, so you don't have a ton of time, and if you're going to spend a lot of time on the boulder, you could run out of attempts pretty quickly.
He's making moves, established on 5.
This is where we start testing the shoe rubber.
Looks like he's trying to crimple on the edges.
Yeah, sometimes the setters will try to block behind it and try to make it so that they can't get the most out of it, but
oh, there he goes.
The climbers are quite crafty, so they know to look for all that stuff. Joe skating a little bit on the feet. This is really good. Second attempt.
Oh, he's off.
So even now, we've eaten up a good chunk of time, and Joe has to kind of... The nice thing about it, though, is that you're basically just standing, so it's not super tiring. It's just time-consuming, and it could be it could be hard to just even get back to that spot again.
Right. So far, none of the moves look particularly powerful. More just very bouncy, very techy. Kind of inch his way across just carefully, which in itself is time-consuming, but maybe energy-conserving.
Yeah, we always joke around that a lot of this feels like hard standing.
Yeah, real calf burner.
Back to the 10 zone again, which is nice. Giving himself a shot here.
Looks like he cruised back to it, too. It didn't look too challenging for him.
At this point, it's really nice to have a really soft shoe so that your ankle can get into the right positions and it feels a little bit more secure. You get really good feedback from your feet, and especially on the volumes on this side, they spit you off. See, he's got plenty of time to try again.
Yeah, I love the use of the volumes. It just allows the climber to have a much more, I think, interactive experience with the climb rather than forcing them into a box. They kind of have the chance to really feel it out.
Yeah, it's a nice environment. They just kind of have to figure out their way through it. Nothing's really intended necessarily.
Yeah, exactly. There's
Joe
no
having a little fun. Joe back on 5.
Moving quickly with just a minute left.
I think he's got the bottom of this part dialed already.
Definitely. Looking very comfortable on those opening moves.
Crimping the top of the volume.
There he goes, established on 15 now.
And Joe's rewarded with a top on men's number 1.
Very nice.
With 30 seconds left, too. So I think that's the equivalent of about 100 calf raises, but I think his fingers feel completely fine. I will say the texture of all the holds is really new, so especially from yesterday, all the holds were new, so their skin is pretty trashed. That might be something that goes into consideration. A lot of the forerunning was really difficult with your fingertips just kind of bloodied up, and it's nice to come out to a boulder and just kind of stand around for a while.
Definitely. I'm sure after the qualifying round yesterday, too, it's kind of a nice reprieve to not have to bear down so hard.
All right, we have CC Conf here on women's number 1 on this piece of pointillism art the route setters put up on the wall.
I see Pokeballs.
Let's hope she can catch all of the zones. CC getting weird with this first start. Climber's starting to get a little comfortable with the texture on the volumes and start to feel around what it feels like to smear on them. Nice, she gets control number 5. Cool thing about these 360 balls is that they have a kind of dual text on the other one side, so super shiny, really hard to stand on. But they're actually really positive regardless, so you can kind of use them as a hand still.
Right. And then you have all the friction on the other side.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll see with some of the competitors that have been on the circuit for a long time and have been doing a lot of the competitions, they just have a lot of kind of hold. They have a big hold vocabulary, so they're really used to climbing on a lot of these holds. And if you haven't seen these before, you might not know that you can kind of press on the side. She's doing really well right now.
And making full use of that volume. You can see how kind of comfortable she looks there too, chalking up on that little edge.
Oh, and she pulls herself right off the boulder. Not a bad start, though. I think it's really nice to come out on your first boulder, your first National Cup finals, and get some points. I think that takes a lot of the pressure off. Worst case scenario, you come out here and you just don't get any zones. So I think that's pretty nice. All right. Really valuable to brush some of the rubber and the chalk off of it.
Yeah, how do you feel those holds hold up to chalk and just used from all the climbers kind of grass, ma'am? Do they grease up pretty quick?
Yeah, I mean, I think especially as the rubber, the shoe deforms onto the texture, it kind of leaves a lot of the rubber on there, and it kind of works like ball bearings on a surface. So I feel like the climbers should be doing it a lot more. Sometimes it feels like a nervous tick if they're kind of brushing all the time.
Right.
But I think it's really valuable to the feet especially, so you can get the most friction out of them.
Yeah, especially on this style where every move seems so precarious, seems worth it.
Yeah, and the conditions in here. It's San Diego, but I think everybody came here hearing about sunny San Diego. It was humid and there was a thunderstorm. So
Right.
the conditions are suboptimal right now.
And even today it's pretty cloudy out, high humidity.
Okay.
Trying to find that foot.
There's the dual text playing a little bit of role. So you have the dual text on the left side of that red. The red is the part with the texture on it, and if you stand on the right side, you're going to get punished, and punished she gets.
Just a minute left. She's getting another burn on it.
I always notice that sometimes for these climbers, when they start getting kind of the rush of the time on slab, they move a little bit more decisively and they actually kind of start doing better. So Joey, we saw towards the end, he kind of felt the pressure of the time and he started going a little quicker, a little less hesitation. It kind of forces your hand a little bit.
Definitely. I think it also helps that you start to learn that movement. Your body kind of starts to internalize it. Oh, she's down. And still
All
psyched.
No, that's awesome. All right, up next we have Sean Rabitou on men's number 1. Sean's just like a really phenomenal climber in a lot of ways. So I'm looking forward to seeing him on this. He's a Team ABC competitor. I'm sure he's got a lot of practice on just competition bouldering.
Absolutely. Indoors and outdoors is a very phenomenal climber.
Sean's working wall 1. Looking steady.
This is where all that double-digit finger strength comes into play.
He's off.
On men's number 2, we have Joey Diaz. First try. Super tough start on here. Men's number 2 kind of looks like just a pure power problem. Just hard climbing in a slightly overhanging, kind of steeper section.
Sean's back up. And pretty established. Those volumes will spit you out very quickly.
Yeah, this boulder is all about body positioning, very little about just pure strength. So it's good. I think the field of play here for the route setters are trying to make something that just asks a lot of questions of the climbers, and they kind of want to see who's going to have the best answers to all these questions. Right now, we see Sean answering some questions. Unfortunately, the wrong answer. Joey Diaz with the top on number 1. That's a valuable top, just coming out of the gate. Even on men's number 2, he's got to be feeling pretty good about topping the first boulder.
Oh, definitely. That's got to do a lot for your confidence. It goes. Men's number 2 also looks pretty punishing with the fact that you just have wood paneled walls. Not even really any friction to gain off of that.
They do have the seams. This used to be the old Mountain Games wall from Vail, and there's the seams that they're able to use with their feet, but they're not actually allowed to grab behind them. But they would only know that if they've competed on them before and if they have experience on them, which Alex Puccio does. Some of the competitors have climbed on them before.
He's back up, trying to get comfortable.
Sean is doing some really nice standing here. Just got to trust your feet. Trust the shoes. Trust your technique. Pretty ambitious dyno on the
I believe
slab.
they call that falling, Al.
Yeah. The dyno where you hit the ground, it's called falling.
He still has a minute. Can make some pretty sizable progress then.
Joey Diaz having a hard time with this first move.
It looks pretty powerful.
It's powerful, and you're kind of just bunched up into a ball, which some people are better than others in that position. But Joey's having a hard time with it. This is kind of what we're talking about. Sometimes with these slab boulder problems, you either have it dialed and you just kind of walk across and it feels like the easiest climb you've ever done, or you don't remember how you got there. It's kind of like somebody puts you in a car, blindfolds you, and you're at your destination. That's going to be it for Sean on that number 1. So Joey already out the gate looking pretty good.
Definitely.
But I don't think he did so well on the second boulder, so that gives people some room to make up ground there.
Now we have Maya Madeira out, scoping out the first woman's problem and pulling on. Trying to find the most optimal way to hold that hold. And
yeah, a lot of times they're going for just to make you feel uncomfortable pretty much the entire time you're climbing this thing. You can kind of tell, like, you don't really, you feel like you want to find a position to stand and you can't. And when you do,
ooh, falling right into it.
she's eyeing up zone 10.
Really nice.
All right, Maya's in number 10 right now. This is kind of where Cece was having a hard time getting her foot over to that red and white hold. Let's see what she tries here.
She doesn't seem quite as comfortable on that seam.
She's recovers there. Good recovery. She's got her foot on.
Managed to grab some of the texture.
Really nice patience from Maya. Zone 15.
That was very well done. Just barely managed to find the good part of that hold. Oh no, and she's off.
She spun herself off like a top. Here we are on women's number 2 with Cece. 2 tries for Cece already. See how she does on her 3rd attempt here.
And she's captured 10.
Really nice. Just holding on for dear life. Those are not good holds.
Yeah, those holds are not great. She looked very comfortable on it, though.
That is not an easy hold to dyno to. Cece's having a good start so far, getting points on boulder number 1. I think if she can get 15 here, that would really help her out.
She looks like she's having a good time, too. All right, Maya's back on. Let's see if she can get back to where she was with relative ease.
We got about a minute and a half here left on this boulder, and she could pretty easily eat it the entire time up if she kind of moves slowly here. So
seems like she's starting to trust those volumes a little bit more than her first go around, though. Very nice.
See if she can make this transition a little smoother than last time. She has a good idea. She might have picked out a good spot to kind of see where the ball is. It's blind underneath you, so you kind of have a little reference point if you can.
Rocked her hips over, really trusting that foot.
Back to 15.
Very nicely done.
Come on, Maya.
Such an awkward position to have to stand up into.
She's got 20 seconds here. At some point, it's going to kind of force her hand, and hopefully she'll have to make a decision. The volumes give you a really bad feedback. They feel like your foot's going to slip, so it's hard to trust them, but that's exactly what you need to do.
Oh. Really great showing by her, though.
So Maya with a high point on that boulder. She's at zone 15. Next up, we have Sean Bailey on men's number 1. No stranger to competition climbing, so he probably feels pretty confident coming out here.
He's also spent a fair amount of time in this facility, comfortable with these angles, with these walls.
We have Joe Diaz on men's number 3. Looks like we're gonna have a little fun running across here. It's warming up to it. So opposed to the slabs where we kind of can have 1 or 2 attempts in 5 minutes, this is a pretty easy way to burn about 30 attempts in 1 minute.
Definitely just a lot of coordination effort to capture the 10.
Sean Bailey.
Ooh, and he blew right off.
Sean Bailey back on men's number 1. Reaching high.
Looks a little extended for Sean here. There he goes, picking his feet up.
Joe Diaz.
He stuck it.
Getting to zone 10. Flying across the wall. Now we're doing a little slab climbing the steeps. Joe Diaz is having a good outing so far.
He really is crushing it tonight. Really trusting the right foot and great sneaky toe hook.
Got to figure out how to get his toe hook out on that volume. He's eyeing it up for the long.
Oh.
I like that. That's some confidence right there from Joe Diaz.
Definitely. With 2.5 minutes left, no reason not to try.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, the zones are kind of telling you, they're telling you a little bit of the story as far as what the setters would like you to do, but you don't have to listen to them.
Come on, everybody's got a different one to work on.
Sean having a hard time. The second person having a hard time with this first move, kind of bunched up.
Joe stuck it first time this time. Go working his way back in. Being very, very confident here.
Not a lot of moves on this boulder, but quite a lot of distance traveled.
That's kind of a massive boulder. There he goes, release the toe.
Joe with some classic youth craftiness, just crimping the volumes. Let's go, loading up, eyeballing the finish. All right, we got Sean Bailey back on men's number 1.
It's just over a minute left. Looks like he's still trying to work through zone 5.
Sean controlling number 10 here. Starting to get a little bit more comfortable on his feet. A little more confidence. Transition from one side of the wall to the other is pretty hard to keep your weight over your feet. Here we go, Joey Diaz.
Just over 20 seconds.
Starting to get a little creative here. Where are you going, Joe?
Seems like he's trying to find the most optimal position to throw for it.
That is
So
good effort.
close.
That is a good effort, and he gets a good round of applause from the crowd here. Now we have Michaela Kirsch on women's number 1. What do you think? Think she's going to have some success on the slab here?
I think so. She was climbing very well last night. You know, has a pretty good track record with comps. I feel like she's pretty comfortable here.
I'm always curious to see what kind of shoes they're wearing when they're climbing on the slabs. I always feel like they got a really good shot if they're wearing some nice soft shoes. Kind of hard to tell right now, but
I believe she's wearing high ankles.
she's looking pretty comfortable. Oh, gets punished by the dual techs.
Make sure you're talking to your climbers. They got to hear it.
Maya Madera back on women's 2. She's got the 5.
It's a move that Cece was able to stick, kind of jumping across. See if Maya reads it. Here we go. Cece just stuck the run and jump on women's number 3.
Another long boulder problem.
Getting nice creative with the heel hook on the volume.
Very smooth on that.
Eyeing the finish.
So close. So with 3 minutes left, she got up there pretty quickly.
Lots of good, I think there's a lot of good tests being given to the athletes here. We got some steep climbing. We got a little bit of parkour running across, some slab and hard standing, and some steep power.
Definitely a good combination of coordination, power, risk-taking, creativity. We have Michaela Kirsch back on women's 1. She looks confident on the 5 this time.
Looks like she opted for a different solution there on that first zone. Coming across with authority. They are allowed to crimp. You'll see them sometimes grab where the screw holes are. They're allowed to grab those. They're not allowed to grab the T-nuts on the volumes themselves.
Interesting. I've seen a couple boulder problems that have the actual bolt holes capped this time around.
Come on, Michaela, you got it.
Yeah, the route setters will try to find as much of that stuff as they can during the setting process, but sometimes when you're an athlete and you want to win at all costs, it's a little bit easier to kind of spot that stuff. And a lot of the seasoned competitors will know to look for it too.
And Michaela Kirsch, getting punted off.
She chose to match on that. It was a little different than Maya, who was kind of trying to press into the volume.
Maya's still trying to figure out how to move off of number 5.
Eyes on 1-3. She got it this time.
These blue pill holes are punishing Elle.
There you go. CC's back after doing the run and jump in zone number 10. See if she can get back into the final move here.
So strong and steady. You got it. Come on now.
1 minute left.
Looking really smooth on that little turn. And she topped it out.
That's a really nice top, and she's really excited. She's looking back. I think she's having a really nice time here. Maya Madare on zone 10. They blocked the top of that crimp, so it's a little precise. You can't just chuck to it.
Come on, Maya. No problem. You got it.
There we go, Michaela Kirsch standing on the good side of that Pokeball.
Doing a lot of sightseeing up here on the top. 8 seconds here, so she's gonna have to make a decision. See what she chooses. She might just time out. It's hard. I think she knew that wasn't the solution, but she just kind of had her hand forced a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm excited
especially
to
as
see
a
Sean.
shorter competitor.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited to see Sean on this boulder just because it's going to give him a chance to, I think, show.
Yeah, he fares well as a very powerful climber. Sticking that first move, no problem.
Trying to figure out how to navigate these pipes.
We have Sean cruising through men's 3.
The Seans, a tale of two Seans on 2 walls, trying to keep up with the action on both sides. Sean Bailey, no stranger to hard crimping.
The first competitor to have made it this far, and he gets the 10.
Getting to zone 10. Come on, Sean.
Nice
Zone 15.
That is not a good hold.
Oh, a heartbreaker on zone 25. That would have been a really nice top, but
That's going to be a harder boulder to recover from. Just the angle and the holes themselves, it's a lot of power.
we'll see how many attempts he puts on that, because that boulder will gas you out for the rest of the round.
Absolutely.
Zach Gaia here.
Zach scratching back on wall 1.
Zach Gala, zone 10, pressing in his feet, and he's off. really hard. You're seeing a lot of different kind of solutions to this problem. That's the nice thing about it. It's not really telegraphed. You don't know where to put your feet.
It definitely forces a lot of creative solutions.
Joey on men's number 4, sticking the first hold.
Let's go, Joe.
This boulder takes you on quite the journey through some volumes.
A lot of different angles as well.
I think this is one where reading the beta can be pretty difficult, just figuring out exactly which hand is going where.
Oh, and we have Sean back on men's 3, capturing the 10 again with relative ease.
Any problem on one here with that first couple of moves? Seems to be that last one. Joe on one fourth one through.
Here we have Joe back again on men's number 4, figuring out the first move and kind of getting into this complex of gigantic volumes. Sean Robitou with a top on men's number 3.
With a minute and a half to spare.
Look at super smooth, Zach. You got it.
Zach's got a lot of time here, but I think if he doesn't get on the boulder in a relative amount of time here, he's going to run. He could be on there for a while, so. Looks like he's giving himself just enough time for one more attempt. Really nice, doing a really nice shimmy up the wall.
Zach's got it on wall 1. Everything's set. You got it. Go, Zach! Let's hear it for him. Come on, let him know you're here. Let's go, Zach.
So interesting thing about the academy right now is that basically we have action going on all 360 in the angles around us. So the competitors themselves are climbing basically on every wall. And if we look around, all the people are trying to figure out where to look at.
All right, the Spectre does have plenty of places to look for. Lots of action every corner of the facility today.
Back on up for the ladies. Let's see what we got.
Here Margot Hayes getting ready for women's 1. And she's rocking the space buns in typical Margot fashion. I think Cece was actually rocking the Margot buns last night as well.
Yeah, I was wondering if she was going to bring them out for finals.
Well, Michaela Kirsch getting kind of scrunchy in women's 2, pushing out into the blue pill.
Looking a little stuck here in this corner. Ooh, Maya looking a little hesitant here on the corner. You got to really throw yourself in there with reckless abandon.
Through wall 1.
Yeah, it's almost like you have to keep running forward. We have Cece on women's 4.
Cece so strong up there.
Almost off with in between those 2 volumes.
Yeah, she's just kind of letting the volume swallow her foot.
Maya almost got it. Girls are crushing.
Maya working into zone 15.
Maya with just one move to go here on this boulder.
Coming up just a little short there.
Right now, not a lot of tops on the women's side. We have Cece with a top on problem number 3.
You got it, Margo. Come on, Margo.
Margo on the last move here. She kind of just snuck her way up there. Foot just slides off the volume. Plenty of time, though. All right, Maya, you're cleared for takeoff.
Getting a little closer this time.
She's stuck it before, so you know she's a little upset with herself for not doing it this time again. Really nice. When you do it smoothly, it feels like you're just kind of walking across.
Trying to get comfy on that left foot there.
So good. There it is. Come on, Maya. Go get it.
It's a nice adjustment. She went a little bit deeper, but just kind of to the right.
Now it's all yours.
Still coming up a little short, but getting closer.
She'll have time probably for one more attempt.
Work for days on wall 1.
Here, Margot going for it again on women's 1.
A top on this boulder would be really valuable. Just to kind of come off the gate. Everybody's getting to zone 15, so I think zone 15 is kind of going to be the standard. So if you could set yourself apart a little bit with a top on that boulder, it's going to be really nice.
Talk to Cece. She's crushing. Looking good up there.
Cece fighting her way. Kind of just, it's like wrestling an alligator, this boulder.
Just slipping right off, but still finding time to chalk up in between.
You got it, ladies. You're all right there.
Maya getting another bid for zone 25.
Come on, Maya. Come on, Maya.
That's 3 times on that last move. It's got to be hard,
It's got to be exhausting.
really tiring.
Cece looking just a little spent there on women's 4. And she's calling it.
It's probably a good call on that one. I don't think you're going to get I don't think you're going to get much further in 30 seconds there.
She's going for it. Come on, girl. You got
With a little help from the crowd.
With just 5 seconds left, topping out on women's 3. Really incredible stuff, Maya.
Sean giving her a little pat on the back there. That's
She
got to
looked
feel
just
good.
a little relieved there.
No, that's super nice. On boulder number 1, we have Clay Gordon, another youth competitor from Team AZR. Here we look at the results from the men's qualification round. So he ranked in 4th. It's looking super impressive last night.
Definitely, there's a lot of try hard from him last night.
Sean on 3.
I texted his coach earlier today, asked him if he had any insight on how he was going to do today. He said that he just learned what crickets are. I don't know what that means. That's all he had to tell me. Not super useful information.
Sean Bailey looking pretty strong here. Oh, foot slip.
Keep moving. You got it.
Touching both finish holds, but
So
not
Sean
managing
Rabbit
to-
got the top there, right? Sean Rabbit got the top on that one. So now we have Sean Bailey's going to want to make sure that he finishes this boulder. Zach Gala on men's number 2. Looking pretty comfortable.
Zach
getting a little crossed up.
Oh, and he saved it.
Nice catch. Cruise is smooth.
That's some spidey sense right
Can't
there.
tell if that was planned or not.
Let him hear it. Get him through it. Come
You just got to roll with it. Kind of cheated death once on that boulder, but he wasn't able to do it again.
Plays back on, trying to work his way into zone 10, inching his feet up. He seems super comfortable here. And Sean Bailey just kind of easing his way across this problem right now.
It's not your typical climbing move there.
nice and steady, Sean. You got it. Come on, let's see it.
And he sticks it.
He's feeling good right now. He's got a top on number 3 and number 2, so 2 tops for Sean Bailey right now.
Let's see how far we can get the guys up the wall here. They're obviously crushing wall 3. Wall 4 is a little intimidating.
This is not a boulder that you put in 10 attempts on right here.
Definitely not. Very different from the first men's boulder.
Let's see who's warmed up.
Have maybe a handful of good burns on that. Same for men's 4 as well.
Yeah, this is where we're getting into the back end of the round. For the men is really powerful.
Big moves, steep angle, bad holds. A very cryptic sequence.
So strong, guys. Looking good, Sean.
Sean looking really good through this sequence. Chalking up.
Very nice. He's moving at a very good pace. Resting where it seems like he's need to, but very efficient. Oh,
All right. Zone 15 on that boulder. Leaving the door open for some of the stronger competitors to come out here and finish that. He's going to wish he finished that boulder.
The ladies are laying.
Clay getting on the boulder for trying to get some zones, I think.
Margot getting ready. Brushing all the holds before anything else.
Can be a really therapeutic experience if you really let it. It's kind of like raking, a little Zen motion where you're kind of brushing the holds. Multi-purpose, that brushing technique.
Yeah, calming and practical.
Sierra's coming in on wall 1.
Maya Madare contemplating life on top of a squadra hold.
A lot of burl here on women's 4 as well.
Kayla Kirsch running across the wall, galloping really.
So strong. Come on, Maya. Gently on wall 3. She's got it.
See if, I think she's going to get to 15 here. Let's see if she's able to just kind of commit to this move first try.
This
Close.
is very close.
Close. So I think we're going to get, on that one, we're going to see Kyra and Alex, if they can get into that move, I think they'll commit.
I think so too, both very powerful climbers. We have Sierra Blair Coyle out on women's 1.
No longer a dark horse. Bona fide comp climber, Sierra Blair Coyle.
Nice deep breath, ladies. You got it. Come on, everybody. Give the ladies a hand. These are not easy rounds. You can
Seems like flexibility won't take Margot very far in that move.
Yeah, I see that kind of from her a lot, where she knows she can do the splits, and she'll try to find that solution, even if maybe it's not warranted.
Come on, girl, you got it.
Trying real hard to work her way around, just gassed.
Sierra, I think, in the same spot that we saw her in about a minute ago. Not sure if the same attempt or...
Yep. Michaela setting up to capture zone 25 again.
Just out of reach. But now we know where it is.
Sierra's taking her time here.
Horizontal rest. She's comfortable.
She's able to get her foot out right.
Sierra's right there. It's on yours.
I think she's one of the taller female competitors tonight.
Tell her to get it. Come on.
That being said, still not very comfortable being completely horizontal.
Yeah, she won't have a lot of time for extra attempts here.
Come on.
No.
Go get it, Sierra. Come on, girl. Go get it. Come on.
Ooh. I think the
Just about
route
touch it.
setters are sweating a little bit there.
Would have been so unfortunate.
Not ideal situation.
Right there. Come
Not sure if they're giving it to her.
Seems like she's really close, but not quite.
over as we speak. She's right there.
Oh, that should be it. Somehow she's not,
She's looking
somehow
just a
she's
little
further away.
Ooh, good recovery, Michaela.
Looking at the crowd.
Whoop. Amazing.
Michaela Kirsch with an awesome top on women's number 3.
Maya's stuck in the off with again.
Let's get that strong finish in there.
I think
Tricky maneuvering.
this is the last boulder, so you might as well just
Come on, Sierra.
fight for dear
Burl
life
out.
on this thing.
Oh, and Sierra got her with 8 seconds left.
I think she just jumped to the top. She stopped trying to kind of tiptoe on it.
You're right, Alda. The time clocking down definitely forces the movement sometimes.
Yeah, it's kind of like when they're trying to get you to stop talking in the Grammys. You play the music and then you have to kind of get out of there.
Yeah. It's time.
All right, boys, let's see what you got.
All right, on men's number 1, we have Daniel Fong. Had an absolute rout yesterday of a qualifier. Sean Bailey getting weird on men's number 4. Controlling the number 10 hold.
Looking fairly comfortable, though.
This is a good opportunity for him to get a top. Sean Rabitou was unable to. The right foot is not good, but you just kind of have to pop off of it.
I think Sean's learning that now.
And he's looking tired. I think he'll have a couple more attempts on that boulder. He knows exactly what to do. Clay Gordon's trying to figure out the start here. It's giving a lot of people a lot of trouble.
Looking a little frustrated. Daniel Fung looking rather precarious after hopping on to men's number 1.
He was telling me he was a little bit worried about the slab climbing in the competition. So I think this is kind of coming out to men's number 1 and having to face a slab climb.
Slab is a trusting experience.
He's able to control 10 here. Zach's going for the one arm here. I think most of the other competitors that stuck it were going with 2 hands. See if he kind of adjusts here, or if he's going to try the same. I like the way he's swinging his arm and his leg, though. He's trying to throw himself into that corner. Makes the run across a little bit easier.
Definitely.
Catch your breath. That's your beta. Don't worry, it's already yours. You just gotta go.
And he catches it with one hand.
Super impressive.
Come on, Zach.
A lot of explosive movement right there.
Let's go, Zach. Yeah, come on, come on. Come on, Zach.
Zach slips off of the 15.
Sean Bailey getting another burn on this boulder. Been a little more tired than the first time.
So smooth, Daniel.
See, he's got one more attempt, one more burn in him. One of the most helpless feelings is when you're kind of falling back on a slab and you just feel it happening and you kind of watch it. You just watch the hold escaping you.
Just getting further and further away.
You can't grab it as you fall back. Not a ton of time here. Sean's going to have to climb through this quickly. Even though this boulder is really long, I think Zach has plenty of time. He'll cover about 30 feet in half a second.
Come on, Zach.
He's able to stick it again.
Way to stick to it, Zach. You got it, Sean. So strong. Bring the power. Come on, come on.
Zach climbing decisively here. Not a lot of time.
Setting up for it.
Oh, just short.
And that would be his last attempt on that.
Daniel Fawn with 10 seconds left. He's getting in a position where maybe he can make a little bit of progress here.
He's made it to zone 10.
Just having a hard time.
Nice work, guys.
Here we have the score so far. Sean Robitou in rank 1 with 49 points. One top so far, 15 on number 4. And Cece actually in first here.
We've got Alex coming in on wall 1.
Now we have Alex Puccio out on women's number 1.
Alex Puccio on women's number 1. She climbs in VSRs and Scarpas. Super stiff shoe. I've tried to climb with them on volumes before. Pretty difficult, and she makes it look kind of easy. So super impressive. Margot able to stick the run and jump on her first try, so if she can actually get the top here.
That flexibility coming into play. Very effective this time. Coming up just a little short there.
Yeah, everybody's kind of making the same mistake on that last, where they're kind of waiting until the 4th attempt to decide to really let it all out.
Yeah, it seems like they're getting gassed and just not reaching quite far enough.
I think Kyra gets to that move, and she won't hesitate. We have some of the stronger girls as well coming out.
Michaela trying to struggle through these holds.
Alex has worked her way zone 5
Alex, ever so
zone
gently.
10 on the first
Just
boulder.
work your way through the balance.
Having no problem finding that left foot.
Split with feet facing in opposite directions here.
Go get it, Alex. You got it. So strong.
Bearing down on the top of that volume.
Margot, back up. Now's your chance.
Margot moving through this really gracefully right now.
See if she's figured out what the hold is.
A little close to that time, but still plenty of time left on the clock.
Kayla with an awesome dyno on the on women's number 4 here to get start. I think this is exactly how she planned it out during observation. She said, I'm going to just jam my feet in there and just kind of walk my hands across.
I feel like it's one of those climbs where you have to get on it and just kind of wrestle with it till it goes.
Yeah, it's just an experience.
Nice, Sarah. You got it.
She'll see if she can work her way through these holds this time around. Very finicky holds. Hard to finagle through them.
Margot's got it this time. Let's see it. Let's go, Margot.
See some stacking in there inside of the volume, some nice heel toe cams. Just as I say that.
Go get it. You see it. Come on.
Oh, with the 2 hands. She was looking to dunk on that hold.
Alex right where we left her. There we go, finding some balance here.
Finishing so strong here. Let's go. Go get it.
All right, Michaela. With the time ticking down here on women's number 3, Margot sizing up the last move.
That was a
Really close.
heartbreaker.
And I think she'll be kicking herself a little bit that she didn't try that hard on the first couple times.
Nice job, ladies. Now let's see if the boys can keep up.
We have Ross Fulkerson coming out onto men's number 1. Came out looking very, very solid last night.
I saw on Ross's Instagram, he had posted something about he wasn't sure if he should be excited or afraid of the slabs at the academy, calling them infamous. So
Oh no.
we'll take that as a compliment, Ross.
Guess it has a reputation.
But you should be, I think, excited, delighted even.
Let's go, Daniel.
Daniel Fong looking at home here on some hard rock climbing through some pinch grips.
Let's see who's got it. Last one. Come on.
Ooh,
Let's go. Come on.
holding it together so well. Come on.
Looking gassed.
Come on, Zach. Making it look easy. Let's go.
Going back to this Zen brushing. That's where you just find yourself again. You find center.
Way to stick, boy. That was awesome.
It gives them a minute to rest too. As long as you're not, able to pull back on immediately, you may as well brush all the holds off.
I really like when they use the longest stick brush to brush the holds that are like at face level. Just trying to maneuver the other end of it kind of around.
Ross looking a little spooked here. Can't say I blame him in that position.
Ross has been to the training camps here, so he knows. He knows what he's getting himself into. Doing a little weird, little wiggle up.
Just shuffling on out.
Wall one. Players coming in hot.
Clay was able to stick the run and jump here. So now we've got to figure out the top of this boulder.
Let's see it, Clay. Come on, we need this one.
Got a little greedy there for number 15, I think.
He moved a little too quickly there. You know, all the competitors look a little tired today.
The qualifier round was brutal, and
Was.
all the holds were new, so I think all of them are probably feeling it from yesterday.
Talk to him. Let him know you want to see it.
Just skipped across that.
Clay. Looking good.
Clay being really crafty here with his feet. Figuring out toe hooks. Opting to kind of stay low on the hold. It's not very good. It's hard.
Seems like he rushed through that a little bit this time.
Get up there, Scott. Catch your breath. Get a little water. You got this, guys.
We have a shot of Zach.
Trying to shake out, it seems.
1 minute left here for Zach to try this boulder. Not an easy first move, so even right off the bat, you're just using a lot of power.
Zach's got this one on floor. Cruising all the way up. Let's see it.
Has a really good pace here through the beginning.
There it is.
Looks like he's climbed this boulder a million times. Oh,
Almost
just
fucks that.
pops off the foot.
It's a hard boulder to have for last. A lot of powerful movement there.
Yeah, I think between that and boulder number 2, you're going to be pretty tired.
Pretty exhausted.
So strong.
Alex Puccio getting ready to try women's number 2.
That's 11-time national champion Alex Puccio.
Not 10, 11.
Brooks will be starting off on wall one.
Sierra sizing up the first move here on women's number 3.
He's not waiting for anybody.
She looked a little uncertain at her foot placements at the start of that before she left the first volume.
Yeah, a lot of times it's hard to figure out if you're going to cross your feet across or if you're going to shimmy
Definitely.
or shuffle.
Here we go, Margo working on getting stuck in that off with.
Oh, let's see a figure 4.
Sarah's just a few away.
Sarah was able to stick the run and jump second try. It looks like getting through the crimp section.
Brooks
This last move's giving a lot of the girls the trouble, so let's see how she does. Really good flexibility there.
so strong, Margo. Let's go.
Coming up just a little short, but not with a ton of power behind that movement.
Yeah, I think she was opting out to try to just reach for it, which was bold.
It's a bold strategy.
Brooke with the top of number 1, with the foot just kind of sticking like Velcro on that volume.
Brooke seems to fare really well in that style. Incredible slab climber. Alex struggling to capture zone 10 there.
A lot of the competitors here kind of trying to figure out how to manage their time. It's hard to know. You don't know what's going to necessarily, if you're going to do well on that boulder and how much energy you want to kind of essentially give up.
Sarah's stuck like glue.
Especially on some of those really powerful boulders like women's number 3,
Finish here. Let's go.
women's
Come
number
on.
4. Last move again.
Ooh. She had a little more oomph this time.
It still kind of looked like she was deciding between standing up and jumping.
Oh,
And Alex, zone 10. This boulder's made for her right here.
lots of powerful moves. Zone 15.
This would be a great
cruising
top.
up.
Heartbreaker.
I don't think she'll have too much trouble getting up there again.
Margo trying to navigate through this section of squadra volumes.
Oh my, full splits. Amazing. And it sticks.
What's our split counter at for today, Sandy?
I'd say at least like 6. I think she's the first one to capture zone 15 out.
It's got a knee bar.
Killing the game, Margo.
Crafty sport climbing going on right now.
You know, like try climbing between the off width. And Sierra's topped it. Looking super psyched.
Alex having a hard time getting number 10 again. And Margo's already back on number 4. She knows she doesn't have a lot of time. This is her last boulder, last chance to get some points here.
Some pretty incredible maneuvering around that volume.
She's gonna have to pick up the pace here. And that's gonna do it for Margo for tonight. So her fate is sealed as of now.
Don't miss a beat. Back on to the boys. We have Ross on 2.
Let's see if Daniel's been practicing his parkour. Really close on first attempt.
Wave getting ready to crush 4.
Here we have Nathaniel Coleman on men's number 1.
And Nathaniel's coming in hot on number 1.
9 tops yesterday at qualifier. He was in and out of that qualifier pretty quickly, so we'll see how he does here on the boulders. So far, really, really tough round. Not a lot of tops. So topping boulders is going to be, any that you can get is going to be super beneficial.
No problem coming out of that 10. You got it.
Go Ross Wilkerson. Moving through men's 2.
This one's right in his wheelhouse.
Oh, and a knee bar.
She's got a knee bar locked in there. Looking really good through this section.
Holding it very solidly.
Sean Bailey, I think, was the only one to top this one, so
I believe so.
Ross can kind of stand up here.
Don't know if you can throw to that hold like that.
Good effort there for Daniel opting to just go to the right hold there on the finish.
So Nathaniel's getting ready to hop back on this.
Time in this round left. Every single one of you have the majority of the beta set. That last one, you got it.
Gotta respect the climb on this one. Every move can kind of spit you off.
Definitely have to be very careful moving through those volumes. Having a hard time getting back on right now.
think the rest of the round is going to suit him really well. So important for him to get some points on this boulder.
Wall 1 is still proving to be a pretty tough wall. As delicate as we can make it.
Not sure if they're going to give that to him. The rule now kind of states that you have to use the zones. You have to control them, but you kind of have to use them for climbing. And so you can't kind of do the touch that you used to do before.
Right, you can't just poke it for 2 seconds and hope that's enough.
I'll give it to him now. He's off.
Yeah, I wonder how much his height kind of affects his performance in there.
Daniel Fong with a nice swing over.
Come on, Daniel, you got it.
Climbing quickly through here. A lot of confidence.
Keeping a very good pace.
Control so smooth.
Opting to go low here through the volumes. Oh,
Still so strong on wall 4.
he's trying hard.
That's amazing. Stay ahead again. Come on.
Here we go.
He's looking a
Clay
little shaky here. A burling
on his
through
last
regardless.
problem.
There is nothing on that hole. Still plenty of time, guys. Now's the chance.
Looks like Nathaniel Coleman's calling it here.
Yeah, not a ton of time there to kind of get on the slab.
Might be worth saving his energy.
Looking at the women's round here with Maya Madera in first place. Just one top is first place right now. So not a lot of tops for the boulders. 15 on problem number 1. And Sierra Blair Coyle in number 2 here with 2 tops.
And Kelly Kirsch coming in very close. And Sean Bailey coming in first by quite a bit over there. Sean Rabitou following almost 20 points behind. And again, not a lot of tops, another round of hard boulders. The setters have done their job very well, Al.
It's hard to know. I think it's a difficult position because a lot of times, sometimes you expect that the boulders are going to get topped. So if you're coming out and you only have one top, you're going to be a little nervous. But everybody's in the same boat, so. Kyra's feeling her way through the slab here.
After placing first in the qualifying round yesterday, she's looking very confident. Oh, wow.
In kind of typical Kyra form, she was kind of speed climbing the slab climb, which are pretty awesome.
I respect that.
I was wondering when we'd see this approach. I hadn't seen anybody try to go slow through this section. Kind of puts her hands up like, I don't know.
Surprised that Alex Wood, she usually seems pretty confident on running moves.
Garrett's cruising along.
Able to balance. Lower risk, a little bit lower risk. But if you're wrong,
You lose a little bit of time. Here, Brooke working women's two.
Brooke was able to top number 1, so she's doing really well right now. Feeling confident.
Let him hear it. You're talking to him.
Seemed very solid on that.
Go, Alex. You got it.
Alex is going to opt for the slow approach here again. Curious if she's going to switch over or if she's going to keep trying this.
Seems like she's committed to moving through this kind of statically.
Brooke able to get 10 on women's number 2. Super precise move, trying to kind of slot in between those 2 crimps.
I think Kyra's the first who's thrown to zone 15 on this climb and made it work.
See if she goes for the dyno again.
Very controlled.
Let's go, Kyra. You're right there.
Reversing it a little bit so she can get stood up on it.
So strong. Come on, Kyra.
And coming up just a little short there.
She might know she has to stand on that volume now. Brooke on zone 10 again. Oh, just short.
Looking just a little uncomfortable.
Notice how every single one of these girls is completely different styles.
Alex Pucci able to do the run and jump. It's getting into the top section. Not a lot of time here for her to finish this boulder problem.
As very powerful climbers, she might be able to breeze through up to zone 25.
That's going to be for Kyra, women's number 1. This is it. She won't have another chance. Unfortunately for her, a lot of the other girls need a couple attempts there just to feel that last move out, and she just didn't get the chance to do that.
Yeah, she didn't give herself the time.
Make our way to the last, guys. Daniel's starting already on wall 4.
We have Nathaniel on men's number 2.
Nathaniel making it easy on 2 already.
Able to do the first move pretty easily. The cool coordination double clutch there.
Falling into that very smoothly.
Now's the push, guys. Come on.
Looking really good through this section.
Definitely a lot of hard moves, but he looks very confident. He's very precise here.
Oh, it just misses the match. It's a lot of energy spent on that boulder.
Definitely. Ross Wilkerson almost falling off.
So strong, Ross. We need that last hold. Somebody give it to us.
See what Ross opts to do here on this boulder section through the volumes.
He's staying kind of high on it.
Kind of get a little stuck on yourself in this boulder and getting your foot out.
Yeah, releasing the toe hook seems to be pretty vexing for some of the climbers, but he seemed to do that pretty smoothly, although he's bearing down pretty hard.
Ross is doing his hangboard workout at the competition today.
Daniel, you guys know you got that one. Come on.
As It's interesting to see Danny stay pretty low on that and see him get rather high, even though they're pretty similar in height. Two very different approaches.
There's no such thing as the
Daniel's
big
giving
boulder.
himself plenty of rest here on men's number 2, so he has a chance
Let's go, guys. Come
to
on.
recover from his first attempt. I think he knows he only needs one more try on this one.
I think so.
Daniel looking excited to be here.
Touch him, guys. Let's get him back up on the wall. There's
It's like,
nothing to
National Cup Series, pretty fun.
This is pretty cool.
Rock climbing's fun.
Ross just managing to hold that.
See what he learned from his last attempt on this one.
Come on, Ross. You got it.
Still opting to stay rather high on it.
Here you go, Ross full
Nice.
crimson.
Daniel Coleman on probably his last burn of men's number 2. Maybe even quicker through this bottom sequence than he did the first time.
This is kind of just seasoned competitor here. I think this is his second try. He's giving himself as much rest as he possibly can to finish the boulder, knowing that he just needs one more try.
Definitely seems very confident in all of this movement.
He knows what he needs to do here. Ooh,
Foot slip.
shoes betrayed him a little bit on that one. And Ross going for a super ambitious double diner to the finish.
Kyra wisely opting to brush the holds before anything else. Those holds are not forgiving.
See if she kind of figures out right away what the move is for number 10 here. Volume out left to kind of kick
Let's see if
into
we can
and
make
help
all
you
two happen
make
here.
that volume feel a little more positive.
Alex is in her comfort zone on wall 4. Let's watch this one.
Alex burling out on women's 4 right now. Didn't seem to struggle moving across that volume.
It's a good opportunity for Alex to show her strength.
Nice work, Brooke.
Definitely, this boulder is very much in her wheelhouse.
Come on, Brooke. Finish it out. You got it.
Brooke making quick work of the running jump here on the last move. See if she commits first go. Falling just short. Just kind of seeing everybody do the same thing here.
She's one of the smaller competitors.
Oh, Kyra's very close.
Kyra getting very close with that beta.
Opting for one hand here.
If you are not familiar with the rules, they're still racking up points.
It's hard to remember what you did on this boulder. Alex Puccio kind of running through it with her head. Or trying to remember little cues as far as what her feet were doing, what her hands were doing.
It almost seems as though the beta is a little less clear for the opening moves of this boulder. You just kind of have to get through it.
Brooke,
Come on.
last move of women's number 3 again. Just falling just short. Kind of going for a pogo kick on the last move there.
Alex has put on quite a few burns on this boulder here. Somehow not looking very tired through this section.
Yeah, she's already done 4 boulders, but you couldn't tell.
Yeah.
There it is. Come on. Let's go.
So smooth.
Brooke looking really graceful through that section. See if she does the pogo again, or if she chooses. Got a little bit more out of her left leg that time, but still fell a little short. It's got a minute and a half, so maybe time for a couple more attempts there.
Kyra looking a little vexed by women's number 2 here.
See if she tries to go to 10 with 2 hands or 1 hand this time.
Come on, Kyra. You got it.
Or
Doesn't seem to like
neither
those
hand.
opening moves. Yeah. Alex taking a seat into women's number 4.
Come on, Brooke. You got it. You know where it is. Let's see it. Come on, guys.
Seems to be getting closer.
Keep pushing, Alex. Come on.
Alex kind of trying to figure out how to kick her foot over there. Finally able to get it. Now she can hear the crowd. She's getting pretty excited here. Oh, just misses her foot on the volume. Really good last effort there on women's number 4.
Definitely.
Putting in work on little 4 over there. That's the highest yet.
Dana Coleman, no stranger to running jumps here. Having a little trouble with his feet there. He is psyching himself up a little bit. This one's mandatory at this point.
Yeah, after a struggle on men's number 1, I would think capturing men's number 3 would be a really good thing for Nathaniel.
Ross able to reel that back in. Trying to figure out what to do here on men's number 4. Really smooth kick over to the volume. Really showing how capable he is. Exerting a lot of force on some really small holds. 50. Oh, he would have loved to have that top.
Seemed to really trust that foot. Looks like Nathaniel Coleman's gotten through the run.
Nathaniel making a little home for himself on the top of this volume.
Getting very scrunchy.
Going low.
There we go, opening up again.
They'll have plenty of time here to try it a couple more times. Sometimes you go out last, you're going to have the most chalk on those holds.
Taking some air, guys. They're looking super strong. We take a moment to thank our sponsors. Still looks
Ross Fulkerson here just taking a little breather between attempts. Starting to get hot in the building.
Yep, crowd's pretty thick. Lots of energy in here.
We're not done yet. We've still got time, guys.
Ross really taking his time here, in contrast to men's three, where you really need to build some energy back up again before pulling on.
Yeah, we're going to have to get... Men's number 3 here is going to be pretty important that Nathaniel gets to 15. Kind of everybody that's gotten to 10 has been able to make it to 15, no problem. He's finally able to get the run across.
Serious precision coming out of Nathaniel. Taking 3 down. Let's get it. Come
See
on.
if he kind of gets the press here. Uses both hands on his last hold. Pretty creative, coordinated move there. The athletes are having a hard time here. It's really a hard round. Super impressive.
Oh, he just looks spent. And he calls it. Daniel pulling on with 30 seconds left. Making quick work of number 10.
Pretty nice carry over from one hold to the other. He knows he doesn't have a lot of time, so he's kind of got to move through this quickly.
Looking a little bummed.
Killer effort, guys. We know you're tired, but it's not over yet. Come on, ladies. Let's see it.
Brooke making an offering to women's number 4 with a towel. Oh, Kyra really close to sneaking that first try.
Both of these last drops take a lot of mental strategy.
Looking very focused on that first move.
Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, it's kind of like another Zen experience here.
Come on, Brooke.
See, Brooke's got to use all her tools here to get through this section.
Let's go.
Seeing kind of Alex get here. She's pretty span and horizontal here. It'll be interesting to see how she gets both of her toes out of there.
So strong, Brooke. Come on.
Looks like she released them.
Parker, you got it. Let's go.
Flexibility is nice. Oh,
Kyra's back on it. Don't miss it. They're fast.
Kyra looking just a little shaky here.
seems to be rushing herself a little bit through that section.
She
The
does.
beginning of the boulder is kind of fast pace, and then you got to slow it down a little bit.
Definitely. Coordination, some tech, and then finally some power at the end of there.
Even though they're tired, these girls are still ridiculously strong. I'm sure you just saw what they all did.
Brooke sizing up the boulder before she hops back on it.
I think she's got to figure out how she's going to get her right foot over to that blue volume, the squadra hold, kind of kicking her feet out without swinging over.
I think we saw Margo do the splits on that. I don't know if she's necessarily tall enough to make that work for her.
I think she's pretty flexible. I feel like she could kind of just do the same thing. Let's see the
Really quick while we have a second, I just want to get a shout out to Rick Jordan in the house.
All right, let's see. Kyra can slow it down through this section. I think if she slows it down through the middle here, she's going to have a good time at the top.
And it's a win it. Come on. Let's go.
Just seems like she rushed all of the moves leading up to that.
Friendly high fives for those last holds. Nice deep breath, Brooke. We know you got it.
So we have Brooke again on women's number 4, trying to figure out how to get through this section as efficiently as possible so she doesn't waste a lot of energy.
So much time. Come on, ladies. Keep pushing.
Kyra going rapid fire mode.
Even more rapid fire.
Stay in smooth. Stay in control. There it is. Come on, Kyra.
Now she's moving quickly, but with certainty. So close.
Looking a little shut down by that last hold.
So much strength. Brooke is not giving up over here.
With 15 seconds left, Brooke pulls on.
All right, we have Nathaniel Coleman here on men's number 4. Let's see if he can kick it into overdrive. Top here would be super beneficial for his standings
He really
as of
needs
right
the top
now.
here.
He wish he could get men's number 2 back. This is a chance for him to put a top on the board. Looking really good through the first section here.
Being very deliberate.
So much control.
Really nice bit of climbing here. Really cool cross under move.
A little breather.
Trying to unwind out of it.
Pretty risky little rest there with your foot kind of just on a smear. That is a good top there from Nathaniel Coleman.
Very smooth.
Into the cheer of the crowd.
Looking hugely relieved for
Really
having
high.
topped a boulder.
I don't think this is a normal experience for Nathaniel Coleman. It's a little different if you come out and you don't just top everything. I think that's something he's not used to. So
So smooth there at the finish. Great job, guys.
pretty tough round. Nathaniel Coleman grateful to have a top here.
With plenty of time to rest. We got one more coming in for the ladies.
So a lot of the competitors have basically finished through their round. We're getting just the top. We have Kyra gonna do her last attempt here on women's number 4. And a really difficult round of boulders tonight. They have been tested on a lot of different styles of climbing. Some styles of running, some styles of standing. And yeah, just all around really difficult round for both the women and the men.
Yeah, it
Kyra-
seems like it's been a couple days of some climbers getting shut down at the last move.
Kyra kind of biding her time.
So it seems like right now we have Sierra with a total of 64 points and Brooke with 59 right behind her. And Maya right behind her with 58.
Yeah, Sierra with 2 tops. Sean Bailey and Sierra kind of at the top right now. Kyra really needs to do herself some favors here with a top. But it's looking like pretty difficult for her to kind of make up ground here on any of the top competitors. Brooke, it was really nice for her to get that slab at the beginning, and she flashed it, which is even better. But just not a lot of tops to be had right now. Sean Bailey with 1 top on problem number 3, and now Nathaniel kind of with helping himself out there at the end with a top on problem number 4.
Yeah, he's now trailing right behind Sean, and not by very much.
One and done. Nathan crushed it.
Got about a minute here left before Kyra starts climbing again.
And the ladies are beasts.
Any surprises for you here, Sandy?
Yeah, you know, for some reason I expected Nathaniel to just come out and flash everything, because that's what I was used to. And with 1 top, I have to say I was kind of surprised.
Yeah, I feel like the slab is a hard one. Maybe if you had men's number 2 to come out to first and build a little confidence, that would be really nice. But coming out to the slab, really insecure. I don't know if that kind of played into his psyche for the rest of the round, but
Yeah, I wonder if that was intentional. It's kind of hard to trust slab right off the bat and kind of shake up the mental game and see how the climbers kind of, dealt with that.
Let's see if we can bring that high back up to the ladies.
all right. Here we have Kyra on her last boulder. I think she's going to have no problem kind of with the bottom section of this and the dyno. It's going to be, again, to getting into zone 15, which I think Alex was the only person that was able to get zone 15. She's going to have to climb really decisively through here. If you spend a lot of time, you're going to get tired and you won't have a lot of attempts.
Moving through that section very quickly.
The other really hard part about
Super diverse climb.
not having a lot of tops is that you probably had a lot of attempts, and a lot of times that means that you didn't get a lot of rest. So you're putting in 3 or 4 attempts on every boulder and you're cutting into your rest significantly, you can start to see it at the end of the round. So it doesn't really get better, and we're kind of seeing that right now.
Yeah, she seems a little tired. Women's number 4 isn't a very forgiving climb. Very burly. Seems like she's actually taking her time between burns, though.
Really nice here at the beginning. Starting to move a little bit more efficiently.
Yeah, she managed that nicely.
There it is. Come on.
See her looking at her hands like maybe the holds are a little rough right now.
Yeah, there's something to be said about the condition of those holds after having the entire roster climbed on them before you.
Still plenty
Really
of
love
time.
to see a top from her right now.
Catch your breath.
Definitely.
all eyes on Kyra right now. 2 minutes left
So much
for her
tension in
last
the crowd.
boulder.
You can imagine how tired you might be at this point.
Last chance here.
She's got the strength though. She can do it.
Not a lot of climbs that you have to make sure you chalk your forearms up for. This is one of those where you kind of just want a full body neoprene suit and then you just kind of slide through the volume.
So strong, Kyra. Come on, you got it.
She's got a little rush. She's got to figure out how to keep her feet on here.
Looking a little gassed and frustrated here. Not an easy boulder to have to face last.
No, not at all. And I think we'll see maybe just one good attempt here, and she's gonna try her best to keep her feet on.
Come on, Kyra. You know you got it.
Likely the last try here for Kyra. And she is just gassed.
He's calling it.
She's got battle wounds to show for the round.
Looking a
Looking
little
pretty
beat up.
Pretty frustrated. That's it for the competitors. Overall thoughts?
I'm pretty surprised. I mean, I definitely had my guesses as to how this would go, and turned out a little different than I thought, I guess.
Yeah, I think we were expecting to see some boulders get smashed, but either way, we saw a lot of really nice climbing.
Definitely.
Pretty difficult. A lot of different tops on different boulders. So I think every boulder on the men's field got topped individually. Joey, I was the only person, or I think I saw one person top out the slab on the men's side.
Yeah, I think Joey was the only one to top it.
And then on the women's side, some difficult boulders. Really surprised, super close for women's number 2 for Alex Buccio with the pinches.
But neither 4 nor 2 seem to have gotten topped.
Daniel Coleman's looking for redemption on this slab. This is kind of like where you're always, the what if moments start playing in your head. But yeah, lots of different styles. A lot of different slab, some kind of coordination climbing.
Yeah, really great mixture of just coordination, burl, and try hard.
See the crowd kind of filtering about. We're going to see a lot of the climbers kind of look at the boulders, replay some of the moments in their head, figuring out what they could have done a little bit differently.
Yeah, you see a couple of the setters there chatting about what went on tonight.
Yeah, I'm sure they're kind of trying to figure out some last minute tweaks that they did, maybe hoping they didn't make some last minute tweaks, but all in all, it's hard. You're going to kind of do your best to guess what the field is going to bring, and you're going to test them in a way that you think is going to be the best for the competition. And the way it played out today, the climbers were challenged for sure.
Definitely. I think between today and yesterday, it was a very challenging round of boulders for everyone.
Be curious to see, like looking at Nathaniel, he rarely gets challenged like this, and I think it's pretty cool he's getting on the boulders.
Yeah, he seems genuinely curious as to how to work through this.
Looking through the results, and might kind of, as it stands, Sierra Blair Coyle might be our champion here.
It seems like it by
With
quite
two
a few
tops.
points. 2 tops.
And Sean Bailey with one top. He kind of narrowly beats Nathaniel just on attempts here. So it'll go the zones and then attempts to zone. So right now we're basically looking at the scores, and we have a 10-minute appeal window for the athletes to kind of go through and make sure that everything looks up to par. They can start to make, basically, if they feel something was judged incorrectly, they can make an appeal, and there'll be a review process just to make sure that that appeal is correct or incorrect. But the scores that you kind of see on your screen right now are as they stand based on the judging of the round.
Right, more often than not, the window closes without a ton of questioning.
I always love this. It's really cool. I love to see when the climbers, I think they're all really competitive, obviously, and so it's good when they kind of get on a boulder and they're like, oh man, I really wish I could just go try this again. So
Yeah.
you'll kind of see them get back on the boulders afterwards.
Yeah, it's nice to see just that curiosity of, how do I do this thing come out? It's more about the climbing than it is, anything else.
And see our player Coral right now holding on to first. She's been doing a lot of practicing. I always see her Instagram. She's doing practicing at her home. She has a gym and she kind of buys a lot of different holds and has a lot of interesting comp stuff set on there, and it seems like it's been working really well.
Yeah, it seems to have paid off. She did really, really well tonight, topping 2 problems, and no other female competitor did that tonight.
And Brooke climbing super well. Both her and Sierra flashing problem number 1, and then kind of having a hard time with the rest of the round fighting for zones. Not exactly like the 1, 2, 3 that I would have anticipated here.
No, not what I was anticipating either, Al.
Although kind of like not surprising at the same time. I think we didn't talk enough about Maya Madere, and she climbed super well tonight.
Definitely.
Especially on women's number 2. Kind of one of the harder moves there that was giving a lot of people trouble with the coordination stomp. It was cool to kind of watch her climb through there. And she had one of the few tops on problem number 3. Cece, first time out here, youth competitor, really excited.
Did really well.
Yeah, really proud for one top on women's number 3. Joey wants another go at this boulder problem.
Got very, very close.
I'd be interested. A lot of the route setters during that slab boulder problem, a lot of times it gets forerun, and you can feel it out in approach shoes, and it feels kind of nice to climb on the volumes on approach shoes, and it feels a bit insecure in climbing shoes. So I'm curious to see the climbers and what shoes they were wearing. It's really hard to have like a really good all-around shoe that does everything well.
That's true.
And the round had some pretty small feet and some really bad smears. And I think that's kind of the challenging situation there, is you want a shoe that does well all around.
Daniel Coleman moving into that very confidently this time.
Joey Diaz was the only person to top problem number 1. Curious to talk to him about. He had success on that one.
Yeah, it seemed that no one even got to zone 15 on that.
Again, if you're just tuning in, we're in the appeals window right now, so roughly a 10-minute time period where the athletes get to make any appeals for any of the scores, make sure that they were judged correctly and fairly for the round. A lot of times they check in through video review just to make sure that everything looked right and was judged consistently.
Seems like most of the athletes are just playing around now.
Getting the podium here set up. Music's bumping in here right now.
Very high energy.
I don't know if you noticed, but women's 3 and men's 3 are kind of mirrored versions of each other.
Yeah, I did notice that actually, Al. They take up the entire back wall, actually. Super impressive boulder. And actually, both of those climbs had a really good mix of different styles between coordination moves and some technical things, and then just powerful endings.
Curious what Kyra and Alex are talking about right now, maybe going over the round.
Yeah.
Probably didn't go as they anticipated.
Kyra looking a little frustrated there.
What was your favorite problem to watch tonight, Sandy?
Probably men's 2. Men's 2 is really, really interesting to watch. Just lots of powerful movements, and watching Nathaniel Coleman climb that specifically, actually, just very, very deliberate movement, trying to conserve as much energy as possible on the way up, while also just burling out.
Yeah,
How about you?
I think for me, it was probably watching men's number 4, which was kind of the one on the right of your screen right now. Just a lot of interesting cross under moves. Hard to read. I think it's just hard to kind of know exactly what you're doing on there, but as soon as you get on the boulder, you feel it out.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of the male competitors climb that very similarly, despite it being pretty cryptic on the ground. It seemed like once they were on it, they were intuiting a lot of the movement.
Yeah, definitely. I think as the boulders are getting harder and harder to read from the ground, and a lot of times if you have a plan A, if it doesn't work, it kind of can trip you up a little bit. So most of the time you just have an idea, but maybe you don't have an exact sequence.
Right, you definitely have to be very willing to adapt once you're actually climbing.
Ross and Nathaniel chatting it up here. Doesn't really count unless you do it in your sandals after the round is over. I think that's the way you know after the fact. You're like, all right, I was able to do this in my sandals afterwards.
Not sure if that would feel good or bad. Yeah, that particular move I really like. That bump down, just a lot of control there.
So the live stream, we don't have instant replay, but it kind of feels like it right now.
Yeah. Let's see if he gets it this time. That last hold, pretty troublesome.
Ross Fulkerson is doing the full circuit of the boulders in his sandals, trying to do the SoCal Send right now.
That's what they call it.
I want to see him just stuff his feet in there with sandals. I'm sure that'll feel phenomenal on those volumes.
They're nice and stuck in between them.
So we're just waiting for scores kind of to wrap up here. But I think one of the coolest things about this was we're starting to see a lot of the younger competitors kind of coming up into the scene and just really, I'm not going to say a changing of the guard necessarily, but Nathaniel Coleman basically dominated all last season. He won every competition, every national cup, and the national competition, and he didn't fall very often. And so it's good to see kind of everything mixed up a little bit. Some of the younger names like Clay Gordon and Zach Gala. A good opportunity for them to get a lot of experience here, and I'm sure we'll be seeing them again. Same thing with Joseph Diaz, and I think one of the coolest things is that they show that they can kind of like come out here and do well. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and I think same with the women as well. You know, a lot of names at the top that I didn't think I would see, and just, you know, making room for some new competitors, some fresh blood up there.
Yeah, and Cece did super well.
All right, everyone.
I think she was happy to make finals, and she didn't look out of place. So
No, not at
that's
all.
got to be a great feeling.
So go ahead and drift off the pads.
We're getting ready for awards here.
All right, everyone. Thank you for coming out. We appreciate it. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with the males. So starting with number 8, we got Clay Gordon.
In 8th place, we have Clay Gordon from AZR Ascenders.
Number 7, we got Joseph Diaz.
7th place, Joey Diaz,
All right.
only
we got
top on
Zach
men's number 1.
Gala at number 6.
We have Zach Gala in 6th place.
Number 5, we got Sean Robinson.
Sean Rabitou in 5th
Number 4,
place.
we got Daniel Fong.
Competitors looking pretty pleased there.
Number 3, we got Ross Fulkerson.
Daniel Fong in 4th place. On the podium, we have Ross Fulkerson in 3rd place. Ross was the only one at Ascend in Pittsburgh who made finals that was here today. So it's pretty good for him. 2nd place, Nathaniel Coleman. And in 1st place, Sean Bailey. Oh, and a nice belt for Sean.
Looking very excited.
He'll be looking to defend that belt.
Another round of applause for these guys. They totally worked super hard today. Well done. Super
That's your podium for the men.
right,
All in really good spirits.
All right. Now we're going to do the ladies. Woo-hoo. You repping for the ladies, you know. So
For the
number
ladies,
8,
here we have
got Kyra Condi.
in 8th place, Kyra Condi.
And number 7, we got Margo
In
Hayes.
7th, we have Margot.
And number 6, we got Sienna Comp.
6th, Sienna Kampf.
And number 5, we got Michaela Kirsch.
Michaela Kirsch working her way into 5th.
At number 4, we've got Alex Puccio.
Alex Puccio coming in 4th. Competitors still all smiles.
Everybody's comparing kind of their battle wounds here at the end.
3rd, we have Maya, Dara,
2, we've got Brooke Robinson.
and Brooke Rabitou snagging 2nd.
And at number 1, we've got Sierra Blair Coyle.
And Sierra coming in 1st. Again, all the competitors looking really pleased.
That's got to feel good for Sierra.
I know you said she wasn't a dark horse, Al, but she seems pretty surprised.
Not a dark horse.
Definitely not.
Not dark horse, Sarah Blair Coyle. With the belt. The Mesa Rim Pro-AM belt. There you have it.
So thank you.
All right, well, pretty good night there of climbing at the Mesa Rim Pro-Am. Sandy, what do you think?
I would say so. A lot of hard boulders, a lot of really, really good efforts on all the athletes' parts tonight.
Yeah, I think the athletes were challenged, probably the most that they have in a while. Not a lot of tops, but really good climbing from everybody. Really excited to see the next cup in the series.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing these climbers again at Momentum Silver Street in Houston, Texas. That'll be November 17th. See what kind of show they put on there.
I'm hoping that they take their belt with them, they wear it into ISO, and that they get to defend it on the next one. That'd be pretty exciting.
Definitely.
Well, thank you so much, everybody, for watching, and have a great night.